Good morning. We are GYANT. My name is Chris McMinn. Give me a second here. Let's push that there. There we go. I think it's important to talk a little bit about our founders, to tell you their story. Both of our founders are serial entrepreneurs, started multiple companies, mainly in e-commerce and gaming. And they started GYANT 3 years ago to bring that type of technology to the healthcare space. And you'll see throughout our presentation that a lot of gamification, a lot of empathy involved in what we do, and I think that's really our style as a company. We also have a number of advisors with Amwell, as well as Sutter Health and Alexa. A little bit about GYANT. So we are an AI-powered chat-based solution for health systems, for patient engagement, as well as taking detailed health records and then passing that along to physicians to help improve efficiency. You can see some of our clients there in Cleveland Clinic, Providence St. Joseph, and Mayo as well. We can live really anywhere where you're engaging with your patients. So we don't want to be an additional app. We'd like to be where you're already engaging. So let me show you a video here. And we have 4 different products throughout the patient journey. Our first product is called GYANT Front Door. This is a digital front door. Our second product is GYANT Clipboard, which is a waiting room technology. And then GYANT Power Provider is an asynchronous-based chat solution. Let me show you a video here. Oop. See if we can go back here. Okay, let me show you this one here. Okay, so as you can see here on the left, this is our app interacting with the patient. And we dynamically fill out a patient chart as the app is going through our protocols. As you can see, we dynamically fill out this HPI ROS summary and fill out a full visit summary, and then pass that along to the EHR so a provider can then use that technology or that encounter note to be more efficient in what they do. I think it's important to see, you can kind of see our style there with emojis, as well as an empathetic style for engaging patients. We go through a full protocol, which is typically about 15 to 20 questions. At that point, you can see we fill out this HPI ROS summary. You'll see also that our AI will then predict a differential diagnosis, and then we pass this along to a provider to be more efficient with what they do. So in this case here, the patient has been put into a digital waiting room. This would be your own doctors that would man this back-end system. We've had some integrations already with Cerner, as well as Cisco, and a few other technologies where if you're using those technologies, you can use those back-end systems to engage with patients. In this case here, a doctor would then review the HPI ROS summary, look through the differential. As the patient is waiting, we can show puppy pictures. It's kind of our style, to kind of be easygoing with the patient, as well as empathetic and really relax the patient so they can self-report more efficiently. At this point here, the provider will take the case, and in that case, you'll see the color goes from a light blue to a dark blue, and then the patient can look at the doctor information about the doctor, can really dive into the doctor's credentials. At that point here, you can see he reviewed the whole summary. We use a 7th grade language, but then we convert that into ICD-10 SNOMED coding for billing purposes. And in this case here, as you can see, he's interacting now asynchronously with the patient. We have over 2,500 questions that are pre-loaded, so the doctor does not have to type out the full question. And we're also available in 6 languages. So if the provider is in English and the patient's in Spanish, it'll be converted in real time for the encounter. At this case here, the providers agreed with the differential, added that to the patient note. We've loaded in for 100 of the top conditions that show up in the emergency department and urgent care. We've loaded treatment plans, home care tips, as well as prescription recommendations as well. So as you can see, a very efficient process for your providers to engage with patients asynchronously. Typically, the time frame with our front door product is about 3 to 4 minutes. If you engage in our Power Provider product, the waiting time depends on how much coverage you have, but typically a doctor time is about 2 to 2.5 minutes. So compared to a telemedicine encounter where they can see 3 to 4, maybe 5 patients an hour, a provider at your system working with patients can see up to 20 patients per hour and allow to really improve efficiency. And then we do integrate with both Epic, Cerner, and Athena. So if you're using these platforms, we have different levels of integration. Typically, due to backlogs and integration, we have different phasing. So we can integrate maybe on a phase 2. In a phase 1, we have some products that have very light integration, so we don't have to get caught into a Epic or a Cerner backlog. So we'd love to learn how we can work with you to really phase out an implementation approach to really show you an engagement platform for all your patients. So I will stop there and see if there is any questions. Great. Thank you.
We have one question.
Oh, okay.
Sorry, it was a great presentation, and I think the tech is very good. But I have a question. You're expecting doctors to see 20 patients in an hour? It's not very realistic, having worked a lot for the medical.
Sure. Yeah, it's typically our doctors see between 5 and 6 patients an hour, just because that's the capacity. There's usually not 20 patients waiting in the queue, but sometimes we have 3 or 4 doctors manning our back end at one time. It really just depends on time of day, flu season, things like that. It's just showing you that based on our average handling time is about 2.5 minutes. Great. Any other questions? Sure, absolutely. So a number of our deliveries, she asked about HIPAA protection and protecting information. So our platform is HIPAA compliant. A number of our deliveries either can live inside a health record, so inside MyChart or in Cerner. Also with our texting technology, we just do a straight text, and then we go to a secure web platform, which is HIPAA compliant as well. And then I'm probably not the best person to talk about some of our back-end systems for protection, but we've gone through a number of security and HIPAA compliant checklists with Cleveland Clinic and Mayo Clinic. So we are compliant and have passed all those with flying colors. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, typically we're using the systems doctors. So we do this in California with our own doctors, and we have gone through all those kind of growing pains and understanding compliance. But typically it's your own doctors treating their own patients. So typically you would fall underneath your own kind of licensure and compliance there. But in terms of the technology itself, we have not run into any specific state-based issues. Good. Any questions? Yeah.
So regarding insurers, two questions.
Sure.
So there are the major players, Teladoc, MDLI.
Mm-hmm.
So are patients having to preload their insurance?
Sure.
Because I think with the other form I just mentioned, they're single sign-on.
Sure. Sure. It really just depends on the deployment. If we're sitting on a web chat, it's an unknown guest patient. In that scenario, a patient, we would identify what insurance they have. We'd identify the patient and try to track them along there. If we're in an authenticated environment, we're able to pull information from the EHR, like inside MyChart or inside Cerner. Then in that case, we would load all that information and we'd know who the patient was, as we interact with them, and we can guide it there. Did I answer that question correctly? Okay. Okay.
So kind of with Teladoc's engagement is pretty low.
Sure.
Employers are pushing out to their employees. You mentioned you have more compliance. Having the engagement scores numbers on that.
Sure. Typically, with our Cleveland Clinic pilot, in fact, our pilot just got picked up, so we're going commercial with them with multiple hospitals. So we work, that's our Engage product where we're doing post-discharge services. When we started with them, they had between a 40 and 60% engagement rate on their kind of nurse call outreach program, and we've boosted that to over almost 87%. So in terms of continuing to go with your standard nurse call line, as well as adding a texting and digital element, we've almost doubled the traction on that as well. So which just increases connectivity and reduces readmission rates. So in terms of our web widget or inside my chart, typically the engagements is 15 to 20% of patients tend to click on it and use it. As we work with health systems to do more marketing and do more, drive more traffic there through different methods, we hope to boost that up to 25, 30% with some of our clients. So that's what we're working on right now.
How does GYANT monetize?
Sure. So we work with health systems, payers, and pharma. They are our clients. It's a SaaS model where it's typically a licensing fee for our platform of solutions. So we are a platform, not just a point solution. And then we have typically like a usage fee, depending on how we deploy that for either our front door product or power provider or Engage or Clipboard product. So it's a licensing fee plus a usage fee. Great. Thank you.